From Oshkosh Community Media Services, this is Oshkosh City Cable 10 and broadcast on 101.9 FM WOCT Oshkosh. Welcome to Your City at Work, your program about local government departments and services. Your City at Work is a production of the City of Oshkosh and Oshkosh Community Media Services.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Your City at Work. I'm your host Nick Austin. A quick mention before we begin, this will be my last time doing the show as I have accepted a position elsewhere, but just wanted to say it's been a pleasure working here at Oshkosh Community Media Services, and I hope you continue to support OCMS in the future. That said, on today's program, we visit with Julie Kiefer to discuss some special events coming up in the parks. Watch as I step into the shoes of a local zookeeper, and wrap things up with Darryn Burich from the Planning Division as the city looks to continue strengthening its neighborhoods. All right, Julie Kiefer joining us now. Julie, always a busy time for the parks here in Oshkosh, the Parks Department. Let's dive into some of the special events we have going on for the remainder of summer 2013. We'll break it down kind of into segments. The Leach, Pollock Community Water Park, and then we'll finish up with the Menominee Park Zoo. But starting with the Leach, what is streaming live at the Leach? Tell us about that.
Well, streaming live is a very exciting Tuesday night concert series that started July 9th and runs for 6 weeks through August 13th. And we're lucky enough to have Citizens First be the sponsor of that event, so it is completely free for anyone and everyone who wants to come down. They run from 6 to 9, and it features local bands.
Okay.
Very family-friendly oriented evening. Bring your chairs and a blanket and come sit out and listen to music. There's going to be local vendors there as well. So there's crafts or flowers or maybe some veggies. And the concessions are always open. Glass Nickel runs the concessions at the Leach as well.
Sure. Running down some of the bands that will be playing, late July into August, who are some of the acts, if you will?
Red Hawks and Six Figures, Jacob Fannin, Sly Joe and the Smooth Operators, B-Side Revivals, Sleaze Patrol, Bobby Evans Band, and the Presidents.
Okay, and these are primarily like local bands, right?
Right, local. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You kind of touched on it a little bit, but how is an event like this able to be free to the public?
Well, luckily we have a very generous donor, Citizens First, who sponsors these events and sponsors the Leach, so we're able to have that be a free event for the community to come down. And
this is, I can't remember, how long has this concert series been around for? Is it the second year, third year?
Yeah, this is the second year. It started last year,
okay.
And so this is the second year. We would highly recommend people coming down. Just come for a part of it if that's all you can do. But
sure.
Yeah.
Now, talk about some of the maybe some of the feedback or some of the comments you've heard about streaming live at the Leach from friends, general public. Maybe you've gone down there to experience firsthand.
Well, we definitely go down and sit out and listen to the music. And we have 3 kids, so it's a great time, and people are really enjoying it.
Sure. Now, another fun event coming up down the road this summer for the Leach is Family Night. When is that, and kind of what is offered there?
Sure. That's Saturday night, July 20th. That runs from 5 to 10 p.m. Again, that is free thanks to Rasmussen College. And there's a variety of different events that take place during the night. We have some family music done by Dana McCarthy, and then Balloon Magic by Jason Love. And then Mr. Billy, famous children's singer and rocker, will be singing from 7 to 8. And then at dusk, we put up the big screen on the stage at the Leach, and you get to watch the movie Hotel Transylvania Under the Stars.
Okay.
And that is a really fun family movie. So,
with both of these events that we've just kind of covered, both of them being free, why is that, or how important is that to the Parks Department to keep these events free of charge?
Well, I work very hard to try to make sure that we get good sponsors for those events because the Leech was built for the community, and we want to make sure that people can get down there and have a wide variety of things that are offered there. There's also all fests and Waterfest and Irish Fest and German Fest, but other things for other family events as well.
You kind of noted that you have a family. You've been down to streaming live at the Leech. Why would you maybe recommend personally that someone who has never been to family night at the Leech come down and kind of check out an event like that?
Well, we went to family night last year as well, and that was a really great time. Just a nice evening to spend with the kids. There was plenty for them to do, and kept them kind of occupied. And sometimes you start to get a little bored halfway through, midway through summer. Like, what are we going to do now?
Right.
And then so many things are so expensive that the kids want to do. It's kind of nice to have a cheap night.
Absolutely. Now, with the Leech being obviously an outdoor venue, I have to ask, what is the backup plan, if there is one at all, for these events if the weather doesn't pan out, if it's raining or lightning or whatnot?
Well, probably not lightning. Light rain, probably. It will depend. I would assume that it'll be out on. You could always like us on Facebook, and then those things are updated real regularly, especially for those kinds of events.
Okay. The final event to talk about from over at the Leech, Kids from Wisconsin, takes place mid-August. Talk a little bit about this in brief and what ages can attend, because Kids from Wisconsin, it sounds like maybe that's catering to the younger crowd.
It does sound like that, but that is actually a talented group of older kids from Wisconsin who are singers and dancers, and it is a great event. Actually, when you look around at usually the Leech is packed for that event, and there's all ages there. It's really a good entertainment. They do swing, country, jazz, a whole variety of different music, and dance too. So yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Very cool. Now moving on to the Pollock Water Park, we've got the first annual Ducky Days, Aqua Fiesta Days, and then the season pass holder night. Ducky Days sounds pretty intriguing, if you will. Is it some sort of like duck race or rubber duck race, or what's happening there?
It is the rubber duck. There's going to be all kinds of different games, like chuck a duck, pick a duck, those kinds of fun things. But then there's also going to be ducky races down the lazy river.
Okay.
So there'll be many heats and lots of prizes and lots of ways to win, and some really fabulous prizes coming up as well. So not one you want to miss. And you can buy your duck anytime, until up to the event. They're only $2 a piece.
Okay, so I was going to ask if you could. Do you have to buy the duck, or can you bring your own duck and then pay the $2?
You have to buy the duck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And when is that? What's the date on that?
The date on that, not the duck. It is Friday, July 26th. It'll run from 2 to 6.
Okay. Aqua Fiesta Days. It's not a party without music, at least in my book.
Or tacos.
Or tacos.
Right.
Is there going to be some kind of performance? And I'm assuming there's going to be tacos there.
There's going to be a taco bar. There is going to be live music that night, and special concessions and games. So lots of things to come. Definitely like the Pollock Community Water Park Facebook page, because there's constant updates coming through on those events.
And where does that fall in the calendar?
That is Tuesday, August 6th.
Okay. Then the season pass holder night. When is that, and why is a night like that kind of important, for the park to put on?
Sure. Well, we just want to thank those loyal customers that have become, buy a season pass and support us every year by doing that. And, it's just a way for us to just say thank you for for supporting the pool. So, we have a nice little grill out, and, just have it open for those people that, people that hold season passes at night. It's one night that you can use flotation devices, so just kind of a fun night.
So if I don't have a season pass, but I'm at the park that day or the pool that day, at what point do I have to, shimmy on out of there so that I'm not interrupting that event of the season?
So at 4 o'clock we'll close down so that we can get ready for the grill out, and So at 4 we'll ask people to leave.
Sure. And now finally on to the Menominee Park Zoo. Very exciting news that was just brought up here. Tell us about the new exhibit. over at the zoo?
Yeah, well, we're very lucky to have a really nice new exhibit with 2 female otters in it. And that was really exciting. That was a partnership between the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, the Oshkosh Zoological Society, and the City of Oshkosh to help make that all possible. And I'm happy, very pleased to report that no tax dollars were used to build that. That was all community support. So they built a really nice, there's a upper area you can watch them, but then also a lower area where you can see the otters as well while they're in the water. And we also had a naming contest. We got over 320 different entries of names.
Wow.
And so we selected Minnie and Winnie.
Okay.
And that's for Menominee Park and Lake Winnebago.
Okay. And whoever submitted the names, if you will, was that written in there that this is why I'm picking these names?
For the otters?
Yeah.
Yes. They knew they had to pick 2 female names for otters.
Right, but I'm saying, did he justify it was what?
Oh, yes. Yep, that's what he
said.
He indicated, yes,
Okay.
that that's what he was. And some people came up with some really fabulous entries. There was all kinds of really creative ideas that came through, and it was really a tough decision.
And who picked, was it a committee that picked that?
There was a committee from the zoo, from the Community Foundation, some local people that helped pick that name.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us and filling us in. I know that's a full plate, and you had to prepare a lot of notes, but hey, we appreciate the time.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. And speaking of the otter exhibit, which we just mentioned, I got to experience it up close and personal as our latest In Your Shoes took us to the Menominee Park Zoo. So for today's In Your Shoes segment, I'm out at the Menominee Park Zoo monkeying around. But in all seriousness, I'm actually a little bit nervous about what they're going to have me do, what animals I'm going to have to interact with, and how much poop they're going to have me pick up. Speaking of picking up poo, that was my first job.
Basically what we do is all this little elk poop, all over the exhibit, any big piles, just rake it up.
Okay.
So.
Simple enough.
Yup.
As expected, it was simple enough, but not quite as simple as changing a kid's diaper.
Nope.
Nice fresh load, literally. My cameraman Scott Williams was also nice enough to add in his expertise when it came to the job. Oh, I missed one right here? Not bringing my A game early on, huh?
And this is the easy part.
Oh, joy. Next, it was time to transfer the elk so we could get their chow ready. I kind of throw this one and then stand off to the side and bring this one towards me.
Yep, and they're going to want to get through right away, so you're going to have to do it kind of fast.
Okay.
They're being real gentle right now, so they won't hurt you.
Okay.
So just throw it as hard as you can and then pull that one close.
Yeah,
They'll say hi. Yep, and then pull that one and pull that one shut. All right, and then count them 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
All right, and then you can push them closed again.
Some water prep.
There we go.
Some heavy lifting. Showing off the muscles. Get a shot of those right there. And some raking. And then it was time to bring in the food and finally unleash the elk on their meal. This one?
Wood first.
Oh, wood first? Okay.
There you go. Go, guys.
At least you waited for me.
Yes. Sometimes they don't wait. Go on, Mama. Lily, come in.
Camera shy.
Come in.
If only we were Dr. Doolittle. Right. Scott, if the mail starts charging, I'm pinning you in there. Next, it was time to feed the members of my family, the monkeys, and 90 pieces of monkey chow and some fruits and veggies, along with a little PVC pipe, would do the trick. The prep work complete, I was a bit surprised. Who knew animals ate so good? Healthy.
A lot of the moms use that as an excuse to try to get their kids to eat veggies. They're like, look, the monkeys are eating them.
Yeah. Load up some toys for playtime and a bleach bottle for cleaning, and it was off to see my pals. Oh, wow. Oh, I thought he was going to come in here for a minute. But
They can't come in here yet. They're locked.
Off. I was like, oh, this is going to be real serious real fast. It did get serious quick.
So, girl, come in. Go on, Ellie. Come on, Bella.
After separating the big ones from the little one, I got to hand feed the baby. Dude, this is too much. Here you go. Whoa! an experience I won't soon forget. And just when I was starting to have fun, I think she's putting us in here for the steel cage death match. Mano a mano until someone comes out. Yup, you guessed it, back to poo patrol.
Really wouldn't do it, but
A quick
like
cage rinse down, add the toys, and then it was time to put the monkey back in his cage. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Can you go get that
Get what?
Can you go get a shot of that real quick? Oops,
all right, if you
wrong
take
one.
that water, keep going.
There we go. Finally, it was off to see my personal favorite, the otters, and of course, rinse some more number 2 down the drain. And yes, Keelin, your mic is still on.
I've been making them do all the gross job.
Finally, mix up a little otter meat surprise, fill the water bowl, and voila. Okay, that completes my day here at the Menominee Park Zoo, and one thing is for sure, I'm ready to go home and take a shower. I feel not as clean as I could, but anyways, I definitely would like to thank my partner in crime, Keelin, for showing me the ropes on how to be a zookeeper and stepping in to her shoes.
Slow down.
Slow down and move over.
And move over. When you see lights,
vests,
Or reflectors.
please give us some room. Slow down and move over. When you need us,
We've got your back.
do you have ours?
You got our back?
you got ours? You got our back? Please, slow down.
And move over.
On the surface, the simple pleasures in life are going on all around us. But inches beneath the surface, utility lines are carrying electricity, gas, and more to your home. Digger's Hotline helps avoid costly or dangerous mistakes. It doesn't matter how deep you're digging. Call 811 or click diggershotline.com 3 working days before you start your project, and we'll help take the risk out of digging. Protect your simple pleasures. Know what's below.
All right, welcome back to the program. I'm joined now by Darryn Burich of the Planning Division. Darryn, the Planning Department, or Planning Division rather, always staying busy, and this time of year obviously is no exception. First, it's in the strategic plan, one of the main external priority goals, strengthen our neighborhoods. In what ways is the Planning Division striving to do that as we speak?
Thanks, Nick. Whenever we talk about improving the neighborhood conditions in this community, I always like to start out anything I'm saying by thanking the council and the community by actually taking an interest in neighborhood affairs. I've been working for the community for almost 20 years, and these last few councils, there's always been people who have been interested in the neighborhoods, but as a whole, the council, by directing resources, actually funding programs aimed at improving neighborhoods, I always like to thank them for that. First of all, the first thing that we do from a planning standpoint in improving neighborhoods is, we do what our name implies, we try and plan. We've been pretty good at planning newer parts of the community, doing redevelopment planning, but for years what we haven't been doing a lot of planning has been, or types of planning have been actual neighborhood-based planning. And part of the reason we weren't doing a lot of neighborhood-based planning is we didn't have a lot of neighborhood associations in place. So when we talk a little bit about what we're doing with NeighborWorks in developing those neighborhood organizations, we haven't done a lot of neighborhood comprehensive-based planning. And that's one of the things that we're doing right now is we want to work with neighborhoods who want us to come into the neighborhood and actually do comprehensive plans for the neighborhood. We don't want to just look at land use and zoning in a neighborhood. We want to do everything. We want to look at transportation, parks, green space, infrastructure. So we want to do a basic neighborhood-based service delivery. So from that standpoint, we do that. We're getting more involved in recent years in actually promoting neighborhood hearings for almost all projects. Anything that comes through that requires maybe a zone change or a conditional use permit, anything that's going to be going through the Plan Commission, we try and promote having neighborhood hearings so we actually get out and hear the feedback from the neighborhood prior to moving forward with a project. In the old days, it used to be maybe you'd have a public hearing every once in a while or a neighborhood hearing every once in a while, but it was never a routine. So we're trying to build that into the process. We're trying to get out into the community and do more get more interact better with the community, getting more information out. I'm looking at creating a Facebook page, looking at doing a Twitter page for the community. So we're doing things like that. We're still doing the prioritized investment in neighborhoods with our community development block grant funds, where we're doing housing rehab.
Sure.
Regulatory, of course, we'll talk a little bit about that, but zoning. Zoning defines the character of your community. We need to look at updating our zoning code, and we're working on that right now.
Speak about that a little bit. What impact does zoning really have upon a neighborhood to someone who, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about zoning, but what impact directly would that have upon a neighborhood, whether it's a healthy neighborhood, maybe a weaker neighborhood, those types of things?
Zoning really, it defines the character not just of your neighborhood, but of your community. Zoning will regulate how your land use, how your buildings look, how things are developed. Anything that goes on in your community, everything that is developed is regulated by the zoning code.
Okay.
And what provisions you have in the zoning code will dictate what your development might look like. So if you go out to, say, the Highway 41 corridor, we actually have an architectural standard in place in the Highway 41 corridor to require a higher level of development, whereas in other parts of the community you don't have that. So you can see differences in place between the two development styles.
Sure.
So it helps, the zoning code helps define what the community is and what it looks like. And as you go around the country, you see all these communities that might be a quaint little community and say, this is cute, these are nice signage and all that.
Right.
Typically that's all done through your zoning code.
Okay.
And we're looking right now at doing a comprehensive update to our zoning code.
Okay. In what ways can the historical district expect to see kind of an impact by updating the zoning code?
I don't think the historical district already has its own separate chapter in our zoning ordinance. It's a little bit more stringent than the rest of the codes. So I don't think you'll see much of an impact to the historic district itself for things that are going on within the district. But for those areas and neighborhoods surrounding the district, whatever provisions that we put in place might serve to help support or reinforce or protect the neighborhoods that are nearest to some of those historic districts.
I know the city is kind of partnered up, if you will, with NeighborWorks. Why does this partnership just seem to make sense in your mind?
Well, NeighborWorks was something we actually recruited. NeighborWorks, the foundation and the city got involved. We looked at what Green Bay was doing up with its neighborhoods. We always had this concern that we didn't have a neighborhood feel, that we didn't have a strong neighborhood organizational development in this community. So we found out about NeighborWorks. They're a well-established national organization. They've been around since at least the late 60s, and they're actually they've been funded by Congress since about 1978. They are a neighborhood revitalization organization working on various things. So what we brought them in to do was to do grassroots neighborhood organizing for us in the field. So they would start developing these neighborhood organizations that we would then be able to start interfacing with to help improve the neighborhoods.
Tell our audience a little bit about our Healthy Neighborhoods program for those who are unaware and what this program really does.
The Healthy Neighborhoods program is what it is the intent is to create quote unquote healthy neighborhoods. And the way we're going to do that, or proposing to do that, is to concentrate resource delivery, whether that be our funds, city resources, private resources, into neighborhoods where the neighborhoods actually want us to come in and work with them. So we'll work with, the reason we put so much stock in developing neighborhood organizations is we want to be able to go and partner with a neighborhood association to come into the neighborhood and come up with a list of things that you want done. We'll go over your list and say, yeah, we can do this, we can do this, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to do this. So it's going to be a complete partnership. So and NeighborWorks is on the forefront working with us on that. Healthy Neighborhoods, that's been fun. We've been funding it through, the council's actually been allocating some of our closing TIF district money into this fund, CDBG. So we're looking at various sources of funding to put into this program. We're also trying to secure grants, and anybody else who wants to donate, we'll take the money. The
city's also in the process of updating and taking a look at the design standards when it comes to building, remodeling, fixing the local homes. Where is the city currently at in this process?
Last year we contracted with a Lakota group out of Chicago to develop a set of design standards. That was it was actually coming out of a council goal, again aimed at improving neighborhoods. especially our traditional neighborhoods. And we hired a Lakota group. They came up with a set of basic design standards for some we thought were some basic provisions to protect some of the housing stock in those more traditional neighborhoods. That we had a combined workshop with the Plan Commission and Council last December. We then created a stakeholder group where we brought, there's a lot of people, of course, who were concerned about the proposals and how it would impact the various stakeholders.
Right.
So we created a stakeholder group, and we've gone over every standard that was proposed and came up with a list of recommendations. That's going to go back to Lakota Group to develop the actual ordinance standard. Once that actual ordinance standards comes back in draft form, we'll take it out on road again to public hearings and open houses to get some more feedback.
Yeah, talk about that and maybe trying to get the word out there. Once things are all updated, so to speak, how will the Planning Division try and get that message out about the design standard expectations that they have and that the city has? I mean,
we'll put out a promotional material. We'll do the internet web thing, but we need to get out to the home builder group, to the realtors groups, to the homeowners associations, neighborhood associations, to tell them what these new standards are. And they're going to be, there's this perception out there that we're creating mini historic districts all around the community. We're not doing that. We're not proposing to create mini historic districts. What we're trying to do is put some minimum protections in to keep a lot of things that are occurring in this community. Because if you go through some of our inner city neighborhoods, our central city neighborhoods, you see things that have happened to some of those houses that really take down the neighborhood a notch, make it harder for people to want to live in the neighborhood, make it harder for people potentially to sell their long-time investment. So that's what it's really all about.
So when you mention things like that, what are you specifically talking about in terms of, what is bringing down the value of a property or the value, of a community, so to speak?
It's really when we talk about what brings value down, you always go back to the real estate adage of location, location, location. Well, location, 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 and what's in that location. I'm going to bring up this picture as this is a property over, I think, on Jackson. It's kind of been somewhat of the inspiration for me when we're developing some of the design standards for things that we think that we can do a better job on. This house has got, you've got boarded up front bay windows. You've got boarded up windows in the turret over here. You've got windows this used to be a bank of windows that's been altered.
Okay.
So these type of things, if you're living in a neighborhood where this type of architecture is predominant, it's going to start having an impact on the livability of that neighborhood. From a homeowner standpoint.
And obviously the city wants from their perspective, probably wants to keep things like this from happening, so that the mass area of Oshkosh is attractive and marketable to people maybe looking to move here, right?
That's a great point, because we've been doing this whole economic development study, and what we've been hearing from the consultant, and I've actually heard it from people coming in from out of town. They keep saying that if you want to promote economic development, you want to bring people into this community, you have to do something about some of your central city neighborhoods and the gateways that people are driving through. Because when you see development like this, it is not a good face for the community. So we use the design standards to help with that. We use the zoning ordinance to help with that, and then we come up with programs to maybe provide investments to turn this back into a house that would be to be a real architectural asset for the area and the neighborhood.
All right, Darryn, well, thank you for the time and thanks for all the information. Really appreciate it. And that's going to do it for this episode of Your City at Work. Thanks for tuning in.